Well, I think I've just found my new favorite bronze watch. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I'm talking about watches. And I'm talking about a watch that I've been wearing a lot because I've really found myself to be connected to it. I've been connected to the design, the bronze element, which I just happen to like bronze watches, but I really like some of the design features of this AquaTrident Helmsman. Not only do I sort of like this watch, but I am finding myself constantly being drawn towards it, which obviously means for me personally, with my own collection, it must be something a little bit extra special because it is getting a lot of time on my wrist. So when AquaTrident reached out to me, I jumped onto their website straight away to see what they had available. This particular Helmsman is definitely the design amongst their range that really captures my attention, but it then came down to what color variation would I choose, because there's some very cool colors of this watch. But for me, black and bronze just works so well. So when I said to AquaTrident that I really liked the black version, they were nice enough to send this one out to me. You would have seen that sponsored icon pop up there because they did send me this watch. This is a sponsored video. And of course, I'm gonna leave some links directly to their website down below. And if you decide to buy one, they're 570 Australian dollars. And not only are you getting a very cool design for 570 Australian dollars, but you're getting a bronze watch featuring an NH35 movement and 200 meters of water resistance. And you're getting a design that I don't think you're gonna see elsewhere, especially the bezel. I really like the bezel of this watch, and let me show you why I like it so much in a little bit more detail, because of the 3D element to it. This I think looks quite cool in some of the other colored variations of it, but as I keep saying, and I'll say it a few times in this video, bronze and black, they just seem to go together so well. And this one is definitely a full-size dive watch because the case itself is 43 millimeters, but that bezel overhangs a little bit, making it 44 millimeters. It is 14.6 millimeters tall, has a lug-to-lug of 50.8 millimeters, a lug width of 22 millimeters, and a weight on the leather strap of 124 grams. And I say leather strap because it also comes with a very nice rubber strap too. And it's nice when you get a couple of different strap options with a watch, especially when they're as nice as they are with this particular watch. And let's start by looking at my favorite element of this watch, this particular bezel, the 3D elements of this bezel, because it is a 120 click unidirectional bezel, which I'll activate for you now. A very nice sound and feel to it. No back play, it lines up nicely, but it's the 3D effect that's within the bezel itself that really captures my attention. And my attention then is held as I look past that at those applied markers that set into the chapter ring there. I love when I see this on watches. It doesn't happen too often, but you'll see that the markers sit inward of that sloping down inner chapter ring, which I quite like. Everything else is then printed on there in white, including the name and the water resistance and that minute marker. But what I do also quite like is that the outside of those applied markers and the hands and the border around that 3 o'clock date window are in a bronze color. They are not bronze, but they are a bronze color, so it matches in nicely. And I'll turn the watch over right now to show you the caseback, because that is probably a very similar sort of design. It is not a bronze caseback. If it was a bronze caseback, we'd start getting some marks on our wrist, but it is a bronze colored caseback, which then brings this watch together in a nice uniform package. Sorry to interrupt, I'm just really hoping that if you're not already a subscriber to my channel, that you might just hit on that subscribe button. Thank you very much. Let's get back to this video. Now, as we look through that see-through caseback, you'll see the NH35 automatic movement, but you'll see that it looks slightly blue, and that is because that crystal has a blue tint to it. But you may then see what is on that custom rotor and be asking, what exactly is that? What is that prehistoric dinosaur that is on there? Well, I'm not entirely sure. I thought it might actually be an exact animal from the past. And if it is, I can't find what it is. So it either is something from the Cretaceous period, or maybe it's an amalgamation of a couple of different ideas. You'll see the bronze of the case is all brushed, and it is already starting to gain a little bit of patina, which, I think it just looks fantastic. In fact, if I was going to get a bronze watch like this, I would freeze it in this particular state. When they're very shiny, they can be quite interesting. When they get all very crusty, they can be very interesting. But I like it at this point in time of the sort of oxidization of that bronze. Now it looks like there's a helium escape valve there on one side of the case. I'm not sure if it is. I'm not sure if I could find any information on the website about that. But then let's go back to the unguarded sign crown. It is of course screw down, and of course having that Seiko movement, it does have hand winding and hacking. And as you'd probably expect from a dive watch, it has plenty of lume. But not just on the dial of the watch. When you turn it over, there's a little bit of a lume surprise, which is always a little bit of fun. And when I knew this watch was going to be on the way to me, I thought I would enjoy it. I liked the design of it, but I didn't expect the quality of the two straps that came with it to be as good as they are. The leather is fantastic. It's one of the better leather straps that I've experienced, and the rubber strap, not only is it a rather interesting design, but it's also super comfortable and I really like it. But I don't particularly love the buckle and tang that they have used. I like that it is somewhat matching with the case, but it's one of these sort of wider buckles, which tend to be a little bit popular on certain watches. And I sort of understand that this is a full-size dive watch, so perhaps it sort of suits the style of watch. But for me, I would probably like a more traditional sized clasp. And although it is a full-size watch with 44mm across the bezel, it still actually fits really nice on my 17cm wrist. And I think that is the slightly shorter lug to lug. And I say that relative to the design of the watch, because often watches at this size can have a huge lug to lug, but this one fits nicely, and it also sits down nicely onto wrist, which makes a big difference. And although I've worn this watch a lot on the leather strap, it's actually the rubber strap that has really grabbed my attention. It has been the one that I've been utilizing most with this watch. And it probably comes down to the comfort factor. That leather strap is going to take a little bit to break in, but this rubber strap is beautifully soft from day one. And it's a watch that I think I'm going to be wearing for some time because I just enjoy wearing it. Thanks very much for watching. Maybe you'd like to watch a couple of my other videos next.